The German company Siemens says it's to create 700 jobs on the east coast to build turbines for the planned UK offshore wind farms. It was, of course, last summer that wind turbine blade manufacturing ceased on the Isle of Wight when Vestas closed its factory. The company moved production to America because of a growing order book there. As a handful of workers staged a two-week sit-in, there was a national debate about the support for renewable energy and green jobs. More than 400 people were made redundant on the island, with a further 160 in Southampton. But what's the longer-term effect? Well, we did a straw poll, speaking to 75 former Vestas staff on the Isle of Wight. Most are in employment, but around a third are currently not in work. Only 3 of them had moved off the island. Penny Draper, a mother of 2 from Freshwater, used to work for Vestas. She wanted to know if her job had been exported abroad. So we took her to the company's new home in Colorado to find out. This is her report.
This is the only type of wind turbine built on the Isle of Wight today. I'm Penny Draper, and I used to work for Vestas, making real turbines on the island. I want to know why the company stopped making them here.
The UK and all markets deserve the jobs that go along with wind energy to match their market. So the UK at the moment has not generated a lot of green jobs because it has not been clear about its commitment to wind energy.
I travelled to America in the search for more answers. Vestas is investing $1 billion in Colorado. Is this where my job's gone? We're in the small town of Windsor. It's home to a factory that makes wind turbine blades just like the ones I used to make.
Windsor is experiencing some downsizing with some of its other companies. For the last number of years, we've been reading a lot about layoffs, and so with Vestas coming in, it's brought, a new excitement as far as some of those job opportunities.
Hi Tom, I'm Penny Draper. I caught up with an American ex-Vestas employee who'd also spent some time working in the Isle of Wight. Why does he think the factory moved here?
Whoever could supply, the product most adequately was going to get the most business and maintain the most market share. So that's what drove the initial move to the U.S., just from the fact that more capacity meant more business.
I just lost a fortune on a wind stock yesterday.
Although lots of people in Colorado like to talk about wind energy, they're a long way off going green. Keith runs a taxi firm in Boulder, Colorado, but his hobby is running a wind energy blog.
Colorado burns 88% coal. Well, that's how we get our electricity. So for us to be able to get green energy by wind, it is a big, big time.
The plant is on a temporary production shutdown for the start of 2010. That's probably why they couldn't talk to us while we were there.
It's a really bizarre feeling. I'm so far away from home to have something that was my second home for such a long time just be so many yards, feet away from me. It's actually very surreal. It's really surreal.
Long term, this will be one of 4 factories employing up to 2,500 people across the state. Even though I spent 3 years helping make wind turbines, I never got the chance to see them working up close, so I couldn't leave without checking one out. Cedar Creek Wind Farm has 274 turbines, producing enough electricity to power 90,000 homes. It just blew my mind.
They have a really amazing attitude to it, and I really would love for the UK to take hold of that attitude and say, yeah, we can do this back in the UK. I would really just like to hug a turbine and say, we can get together with this. This is something we can get hold of and embrace. I'm going to hug my turbine.
A brilliant report. Penny is here with me now. Your job, you thought it had gone abroad. Do you now feel the same way that you did before you went there?
I don't feel as strongly about that anymore because I saw that the market over there, they want wind turbine blades and it makes sense to make them there.
Because, I mean, that's what the Department for Energy and Climate Change says. It was disappointed that Vestas took the commercial decision to close the factory on the Isle of Wight. The factory made onshore blades for the US market, not suitable for UK or EU markets. But I don't think your former colleagues would necessarily agree with you, because it's been quite divisive, hasn't it?
It has been quite divisive. I think that those blades could have been used on the island. They could have been used in the UK market. They weren't suitable for offshore, but the technology is changing.
Siemens' announcement today, 700 jobs coming up in the east or the northeast, of course, with the UK offshore wind manufacturing sector. Is that good news? I mean, do you see perhaps a possibility for the Isle of Wight there?
I would love for them to start building blades on the Isle of Wight again, and I think that's fantastic news. It'd be fantastic to get some of these blades going up in the UK. We have a huge wind energy resource here in the UK. We need to buy into that.
I mean, Bob Crow from the RMT, of course, he says it makes sense for Vestas workers to be given first refusal on those jobs. Is that likely? Will people leave the island?
I think there will be some people who would leave the island for those jobs if they were given first dibs in them. I don't know how the company would feel employing people from the island when they want to bring local jobs back. So I don't know how that would work.
Penny, thank you so much, and thanks for doing that report for us. It's good to meet you. Let me also tell you what the department says. The department says the UK offshore wind industry is thriving, pointed to Siemens and similar announcements by 2 other companies. And it says incentives are working and the market continues to grow with the potential to create thousands of new jobs, which we'll watch, of course, with a great deal of interest. You can hear a special documentary presented by Penny tonight on BBC Radio Solent. The programme Redundant South, Where Did My Job Go?, starts at 7, straight after South Today. And the debate about green energy policy in the UK continues tomorrow on the Julian Clegg Breakfast Show. And Julian will also be asking where the Isle of Wight's Eco Island project stands, following, of course, the Vestas closure.
We are in Turkey, in a place called Kocaeli, the Ford plant. This could be the place that's going to produce everything that we are producing in Southampton. My name is Bill Chandler, and for 32 years, Ford was my life. But last year, Swaveling halved its workforce and cut production. Many of us are now worried that all production could be lost to this factory in Turkey. For years in Southampton, we only thought of Turkish workers as the competition. But now I've finally been able to meet them face to face.
Welcome. My name is Müzeyyen Can.
My name's Bill.
Müzeyyen Can. Buyurun.
Museum works at the Turkish plant with her husband. Their wage not only supports their family, but also allows them to invest in a second home.
It's a very good income in Turkey. I don't know about lawyers and engineers, but for a labourer in Turkey, it is a very good income. The minimum wage is about £260 a month, so to bring in £1,100 is excellent.
I was quite shocked at the levels of poverty here. I didn't just see young children at school, but also working on the street. But despite the many miles and differences between us, it seems that Turkish workers share the same fears we have in Southampton.
Production is going to go towards east, from Europe to here and then to India, maybe China.
We hear a lot about jobs moving abroad, but meeting the people behind the statistics, it made me realise that we were all workers trying to earn a living.
Well, as well as Ford investing in Turkey, you may remember earlier this week we visited the wind turbine maker Vestas in Colorado. And a short while ago today, I spoke to economist John Purcell and asked him whether there was an upward trend in businesses moving jobs abroad, and if so, why?
Well, we're definitely seeing that, and the reason we're seeing it is part of this global economic environment that we're in. And in Southampton, Portsmouth, or any town around the UK, we're no longer in control of our own destiny. So that if a big company realises it can make its products cheaper abroad, it's going to do so. So that's the reality.